All right. Hello, gentlemen. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, 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 yo.
my
Howdy.
daughter got one of these like expandable bendy straws from school the other day. Oh my god, it's like her favorite toy. You just like loop, like you just expand it and it goes like boop 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 boop, and then you like close it up and it's like boop 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 boop. It's really annoying as a sound, and
then
she's just
she never drinks her drink.
she's
as a
just
result.
doing it all the time. It's probably too big to be a straw. It's it could fit like a marble through it. So it's like a toy. But this is all she's been playing with for the past 3 days, and like
I hope she's not drinking marbles.
I'm hoping that she plays with it so much it breaks, or something else happens to it, or she forgets it at the park or something. All right.
Well, there are other devious things you could do as a parent.
I
Wes.
could, but I don't want to sabotage her. That would be wrong.
You don't want to get caught.
Yeah,
I think is the thing. So now you're just wishing for bad things to befall her.
Absolutely. No, not her, just the straw.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about the boys, and then actually the Olympics have just started by the time you've heard this, although they haven't started as we're recording this. So we're gonna touch on the Olympics a little bit, but with a little confidently wrong twist.
Yeah,
so,
buddy.
The boys, they finished up their season finale about a week or so ago. We did check in about the halfway point with season 4. I was a really big fan at that point. Savon and Brian were enjoying it, but maybe not like this is amazing. Did anyone feel differently after having seen the second half of the show, or are we kind of all in the same place?
Yes, I feel differently.
You feel differently? Worse? Better?
Way worse.
Oh, interesting. Tell us more.
I just feel like it was okay. It was like good and fun, and then I just really started losing interest.
Okay.
In the second half of the season, and
what parts
there are a number of
losing your
reasons.
interest?
There are a number of reasons. Part of it was a lot of the set pieces being just constantly being retread over and over, blood and guts and like destruction, yada yada yada. It just felt like the show was getting tired, which I don't think I've felt until this season of The Boys, which is unfortunate. And then a lot of the plot points that we talked about for that first half of the season completely just went away. They're just like, oh, okay, we're pivoting from this stuff. We are admitting that all that stuff kind of didn't matter at all.
Like what?
And like Frenchie, like come on. Like all that stuff, even Huey's dad and
Huey's dad didn't come to much.
Like, and then his dad died, and then Huey at one point says he's like, I'm not okay, but then what happened to any of that? Like, all this kind of stuff is just felt like filler ultimately, and the show teasing itself out for an elongated period that it really didn't deserve.
Yikes. Sav.
I mean, I don't completely disagree with Brian. Like, I think some of the stuff, I get the purpose that it served in the narrative. Like the Huey stuff, it wasn't my favorite, but it was meant to be him confronting his past, learning about forgiveness, and clearly that's going to his like mentality of like, yo, man, hanging on to hate isn't healthy. Like, I actually think from a writing perspective, the point they're trying to make is fine. The reason I'm losing steam and interest is that, and we said this at the end of season 3 of The Boys, the status quo does not get... I mean, sometimes the status quo might change.
That too.
Like, now the status quo has finally changed for like the ending. I'll give them props on the ending, seemingly shaking up the status quo. But here's the reality about The Boys that unfortunately is causing me to lose steam. The biggest other things you could point out, but I think the biggest one is that everybody has plot armor, and that just starts to hurt the stakes. Like, it starts to become obvious when you can just tell, oh, a bunch of people are about to die. Like, anytime you see a scene where it's a bunch of boys characters and then a couple of unnamed, like, they lean so hard into the red shirt trope of, hey, we need some people to die. Let's just throw some faceless red shirt goons. They're going to get absolutely murked. The boys will come out, Gucci, and then we just do it all over again. And I think just the plot armor is just starting to kind of take away from things a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you have to kill off a main character, Ned Stark style, or something to be good, but our principal cast has stayed the same since season 1. We still have Kimiko, we still have, we still have MM, we still have Huey, we still have Butcher, we still have Frenchie. The Boys have never taken an actual loss of any of their main members in the last 4 seasons. And maybe something I think people are finally going to die in the last season, but you cannot wait until the last season to finally start stripping off the plot armor on characters. You know, when Stan Edgar in the season last said, it amazes me that y'all are still alive. I'm like, I'm kind of with you, dog.
Yeah, was that a wink at the audience?
I don't know. I mean, it's a wink at just how dumb their situations they are can be, and I'm okay with the dumb situations. But the fact that no one dies, it's not even no one even gets maimed or like.
Yeah,
Can someone
like
at least
Kamiko
like
lost the leg, but it grew back.
well, Kamiko's power.
Probably. But
No,
then, like, why couldn't someone else have lost a leg and just like be irreparable from that point?
Like Kimiko has the perfect power for her to just get absolutely wrecked, and everyone else doesn't, and she'll just be okay. But like, you don't gotta kill characters. But can someone lose an eye? Can someone get injured? Can someone get put in a wheelchair? Can someone have to medically retire from the boys and be the man in the chair? Like, you can still have stakes in a story without killing off characters. But the boys seems to be unwilling to do either. And that is hard to take seriously in a show that takes pride in killing a bunch of people on screen. But when you just know it's going to be generic goon number 2, like I can think of like the sheep scene when they were at the barn. Of all the people who died, no named characters died at all. When they were in the bunker at the season finale, no named characters died at all. Like every time there's a scene where a bunch of folks fight, there's a lot of death and no characters we care about. When they came to the office and got the crap beat out of them, they just beat the shit out of Deep and just left them there. Now, I know the explanation was, hey, we can't kill him fast enough, Noir's coming, but like, again, they went to the boys' office, lost a fight, and no one died.
Yeah.
Like, the plot
that
armor
should
just,
not be.
That, like, there was a bunch of other things that I could, like, nitpick and I could ignore, but that piece has really made the other frustrations kind of amplify a little bit. And
Interesting.
The show is very guilty of introducing new characters and been very quickly killing them off on the season or removing them, a la Stormfront, a la Soldier Boy, who we may get back. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of with Brian of like there's issues with the show, but the lack of consequences to things is what's really for me accelerating my like just kind of like I still want to see how it ends, but like I don't care as much anymore. I need someone to get hurt. Like Frenchie needed to stay in jail, or someone needed
seriously.
or someone needed to just
the
die.
Characters really need to change, right? And like for the events and the things that they are confronting, it has to change them in significant, demonstrable ways, and that just has not happened through the course of the series mostly, but especially this season. Like our patience is so thin in season 4. We just need things to happen and for there to be real consequences for any of it to work.
Yeah, what did you think, Brody?
Yeah.
What did I think of the second half of the season? I think some of the things I was excited about paying off didn't really, like especially Huey and his dad and giving his dad Compound V. I thought that could have played a bigger role in actually being part of the solution or part of the conflict with Homelander. So I kind of wish they would have done that. But I was kind of like, not kind of, I did enjoy that they brought in a little bit of the Gen V stuff towards the end. And so that kind of teases where it might go in the next season so that Gen V actually has an impact on the boys, storyline. And I don't know. I just thought some of it was like really cool. I loved like the fighting. I think Butcher being kind of sidelined and kind of in and out of it. I did like the stuff they were doing with he's not quite tethered to reality right now. He's like kind of in, but kind of out. I thought that was really interesting in how they pulled some of that stuff off, like, kind of Fight Club style.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, great development.
But him being on the team and then on the team and then kind of doing his own thing and then kind of with the team, like actually that sort of made it worse. That it just kind of just felt like he's kind of in the team, but he's kind of doing his own thing. And it would have been cleaner if it was just like he's on his own and he's doing this thing to work on his own agenda, or he's with the boys and working with the boys on their agenda and like fucking things up like usual. He was sort of like in and sort of out, and it was sort of unclear what his actual impact on anything was. And he didn't actually impact anything except a little bit at the end with Ryan. But I don't know. I mean, I think his journey has been interesting in that it wasn't quite what I thought. It didn't have the power I think it could have had. And him not being part of the boys, I think, makes the boys a little bit less interesting, probably in some ways. And I don't know. And then like the way it ended, we're gonna talk about like the ending and him having the symbiote or whatever inside of him. I don't know how I felt about that. I guess it was like, oh, all of a sudden now you're better because you have the symbiote in you, even though that was probably what was part of making you sick before. But maybe the symbiote kind of absorbs some of that cancer stuff, or is the cancer, and so it's, I don't know. That it was the unexplained. But what a visual ending. He just became a tentacle monster.
He's
Yikes.
the cancer got compound V and
Sentient.
turned him into venom.
Yeah. So
Pretty, it's pretty
fascinating.
straightforward.
And now he's healed, right? His eyes aren't as bloodshot, and he's not coughing and sick anymore. I didn't like that they killed Newman. I don't know. Not
I
like
didn't like
story.
it either. I
not
didn't
like
like it
felt
either.
like a
story-wise.
character that just went nowhere.
Yeah, like, and they were even setting up the Homelander threatening the shit out of her, and I'm like, oh shit, she's about to be really interesting next season. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, no. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted
That
to
was a lot
see
of-
more from her story, and also
Her-
like, where did her daughter go at the last scene? She
They
was
sent her-
there.
I was
She came in,
wondering about that too.
and then
Yeah, I
she
was
just
like,
disappears. She's not
she
in the.
didn't get grabbed by Butcher. Like what?
Butcher didn't kill the kid, just killed Newman.
Yeah,
She
but
didn't
then
try
they
and
don't show
defend
the kid reacting to the mom being torn apart, which is like the most impactful person who's gonna watch her mom die. Maybe they'll deal in the next one, but they should have done it in this one.
Yeah, they sent
'cause
it to that group home, the same group home that
Yeah.
Newman was in. But yeah, the fact they didn't show any
why
kind
didn't
of
we get
reaction
to see
to
her
it was
react?
very.
I mean, maybe they're saving it for season 5 so that we can get from her perspective. But I don't know. It would have been nice
I think
to
that's
see the
just. I think
external
that's just a
perspective.
weird. I think that's just a weird director choice or a weird
Yeah.
editorial choice. Maybe they had a reaction that they cut, which all you gotta do is
Yeah.
just have a literal quick.
Yeah,
I'm
just a
with
hint
you.
of it. or
Literally just
something.
her face.
Maybe it
she
went
tries to
bad.
run that. She
Show
tries to
her
run that Butcher
escaping,
chemical
something.
holds her. You know,
Yeah.
like she tries to do that chemical, stops her from charging in like literally 2 seconds to. But yeah, I don't know.
And
That
also, we know that the daughter has her own abilities that could stop the boys, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why didn't you unleash that
Yeah.
and save your mom?
Granted, the others tried
was
to
fast.
interfere, and Butcher used the thing to kind of
Yeah,
keep
hold
them
them
back because Chemical and Starlight did try to intervene. But like, yeah, I don't know. I could ignore that part maybe, but just Newman's death as a whole is just like she was one of the best characters in the show.
Yeah, I liked
Like
her.
she actually had interesting, complex motivations that were hard to understand. And for someone who wasn't like a main character, she got some pretty solid development of being someone who's living in 2 worlds, a politician, her relationship to the different folk. Like she was actually one of their better characters. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
they just killed her off. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah, now she's in 2. So.
yeah. I'm like, she was.
It also
sick.
removes
that.
some of the threat against Homelander, right? Like she has some leverage against Homelander in some ways, even though like he's obviously can kill her, but I don't know. Interesting.
But they never even hyped like we never. But you know, the fact they never even answered the question of can she kill him with her powers? Can they at least like
Yeah,
like that? Just felt like
the
a
head popping thing was lost entirely.
lot
I
of
don't
little-
think she can. I think
yeah,
that
but
it was
which
clear
is
to me that she
fine.
couldn't.
No, but the thing is, they never. There's even a scene where
didn't
Homelander
explore it.
said. There's even
Yeah.
a scene where Homelander says, "Could you do it? I don't know." That's fine, you know. And he said that last season of like, you could try, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Who knows? That's the fun, right?
Yikes.
Now, that being said, the one thing I am a little curious about that maybe, which I'm kind of skeptical, but maybe it could help. I actually don't think it will, but I'm curious what they're going to do with our friends from Gen V and how they're going to play into, because they have to play into the finale of the show. And Marie being a blood controller and having the head popping ability, I feel like that could be a significance, but also the boys has a real big tendency of introducing interesting plot points and then not really exploring them. Like when some of the stuff with Ryan, like when Ryan had Homelander had Ryan doing the thing of making the guy beat up the person and he had that face, and then that just never really went anywhere, right? Like
Yeah,
they do a lot of stuff like that. That's where they going with this, and it's like nothing. They're not doing it. They're going nowhere.
And nothing.
nowhere. It's a dead end.
Yeah.
So I think this season maybe was a little bit like uneven like that. I thought the first part really started out like it had a ton of potential. And I think I finished the season being like, oh, it was another season of The Boys. And not like it wasn't horrible. I don't mean to say that like, oh man, all these plot points were just like really messing with my head and I just couldn't get into the story at all. Like I was still into it and I still wanted to see what would happen, and all that stuff was like really just like fun and cool to see, and I was bought in. So it wasn't that. It was just I feel like there were some things they could have done with a little more time or a little more money or something. But not I don't think it was like bad. Maybe you guys thought it was bad, but I didn't go from like, oh man, this is an amazing season 4 to like, oh,
it was
this is bad. I just
inconsistent.
went, yeah, that's all I thought.
It was like some moments were great and others are like, oh, this is
yeah, but I wasn't looking for it to be amazing, so I give it a little bit of a pass there.
I think in previous seasons they've found a way to ramp things up more interestingly and satisfyingly, where stuff comes to a head. Though the board always ends up resetting.
Yeah.
Usually, there's some really standout moments.
Yeah, that wasn't this.
Yeah, where standout moments where something grave happens, maybe your jaw drops, and you're like, wow, they took it there. Like last season, Homelander killed some bystanders at the end of the season. You're like, whoa, they went there.
Publicly.
This season,
they didn't go more there.
I don't feel like they quite hit those highs. That
I guess that's
to
true.
me are the things that really carry the show over, that are pulling me constantly to want to watch. And I felt like they were trying to hit some of those notes, but a lot of it just fell flat ultimately. And then the more that they kept throwing out different types of things, flying sheep and whatever, the more it just felt like the show was flailing, in my opinion, and was losing its own intelligence and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I just think the character the characters being interesting is just very lopsided. I think you have characters like Butcher, who I think has gotten great character development in terms of him being a piece of crap, but then he clearly has complex motivations about the relationship between his wife, Ryan, and all that stuff. Like, I like that stuff. Him being so introspective about, is he a monster? Is he not? Battling with this hallucination in his brain, ultimately deciding to give in at the end. Like, that was dope. Homelander having to come to, with his mortality in a lot of ways, with like all of the, him plucking his gray hair scenes and whatnot. Like, it's weird, but
delicious.
That shit has always been consistently interesting. Even A-Train, who was probably the least likable character from the start of the show, at least for me, became a favorite because they did so much long-term character development.
That felt good. The guy looked at me like I was a hero.
Yeah, but I'm like, yo,
like, good job, A-Train, you did it.
But when you think about the arc of his character, the relationship with his brother, his nephews, realizing the people are awful, the racist crap at his job, all that, like, it makes for an intriguing story, because I hated A-Train and was rooting for him by the end of this season. So it's like, the problem is that I think some characters that develop, even MM, I'm a big MM fan of his battling between his anxiety and taking care of his family and responsibility and all. They have those characters who are awesome. Yeah. But then you got characters like, at least in my opinion, Huey, who is just like, like, this just doesn't really contribute to the main plot in a way to be interesting. Frenchie, who's just always feeling bad for himself. Kimiko, who her conflict is interesting, but that's better as its own show. Like, it's not interesting in the context of The Boys. It'd be cool as its own spinoff series, I think. But like, her issue and conflict is, in my opinion, too divorced from the main story stuff to be.
Well, I think that's the problem. It's not that it's not interesting or would have to be its own show. I think they haven't tied in
like a tangent.
Yeah, they haven't tied in all these like other would-be assassins or the people she's victimized into the storyline.
Yeah, and I would argue that there's no way to tie it in without it feeling forced or uninteresting, because
I think they could have done it.
I think the nature of Vought and their whole super company thing, and then like an underground like East Asian assassination ring, is just trying to connect those together would feel like just the tonally they just feel very different, to where I don't even think I'd want them crossing over genre-wise. But whatever. My point is that they have good characters, but not everybody's as interesting. And when you have so many uninteresting characters, and you're unwilling to kill people off to kind of, trim the fat on the larger cast, because certain characters' arcs probably could have ended 2 seasons ago, you have a bit of a bloated cast, and they need to give everybody something to do, and that's just not realistic. That's why they had to throw Frenchie in jail half the season, because he's either going to be in jail or working on the virus, but there's not really a lot for him to do. But I think that's it's a consequence of the format.
I'm still into it. You guys sound more down on it than I am. I'm still probably season 4. I'd say like 4 stars out of 5. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Really, really liked it.
That's bold.
That's a high score.
I know. I was looking every week. I was looking forward to watching the episodes. So they were doing something right. But I think, like you said, like, it was kind of, you had to be a little smooth brain about it. You didn't have to analyze it too hard, and just like enjoy the ridiculousness of it. Brian, what did you think season wise? Final conclusion, final thoughts.
I think Sister Sage really was done poorly. I'm very disappointed. She could have been such a great character, and
she was for a lot of it.
I felt like they just like didn't really know. They didn't show her being this mastermind genius. She's sort of like is like saying, "Oh yeah, that was all part of the plan." Like,
yeah, but we don't know that.
Make me believe it. Make me believe that she is playing 4D chess and everybody else is playing checkers. But I'm glad that she's at least still on the board. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there as well. Like, there's all these, as Savon has pointed out, lots of things that have so much potential and are interesting, and they hint at it a little bit here and there, but then they don't really stick the landing and take us there. And for that, with the boys just like retreading some of this stuff over and over and over again, I would give this like a 5 out of 10 or something like that. Like this season just reminded me of how much better and more interesting and imaginative Gen V was to this. And I even saw a friend of the show, Sean, yesterday, and asked him what was better, The Acolyte or Boys Season 4. He said The Acolyte, which also is not a great show, but that just shows you where Season 4 has left us. So
I enjoyed how Acolyte kind of finished up.
I think that show has gotten better since the beginning. So
For sure.
Yes.
All right. Sav hasn't seen it, so don't spoil it for him. Sav, where are you at on the boys? What's your final verdict?
3.5 stars out of 5.
All right.
It wasn't outright bad,
No.
but it had very objective flaws that took away from the final product.
He said objective flaws. It's just a TV show, but okay.
I mean, it can still have a flaw. Like, there's stuff that I'm like, oh, this ain't it. Y'all missed the mark on this.
All right,
Subtract
fair enough.
the point.
All right, let's get into our next segment. Segment number 2.
Oh, yeah, baby.
We're doing a new Savon starting 5. Savon, do you want to introduce your starting 5 and how it ties into current events?
You're damn right. So,
All right.
lovely people, as you all know, the Olympics are right around the corner.
Whoa, why
The
did we
music,
get into
cue
this
the
whisper
music.
mode?
Where all, people from all over the world come together to compete. And it's a beautiful thing. We've been doing it for
Athletes.
over 100 years. It's a great way to have some
Chess
national
players.
pride that's not super problematic, only mildly problematic. And it's something that really brings people together, which is sports and trying to win and compete. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. But this isn't about what I love today. It's about what I don't like. Because despite all these awesome sports and competitions, they got some of these that I'm going to keep it a buck. No disrespect to the people who spend all their time training, but I'm like, yo, this shouldn't be an Olympic sport. Or there needs to be some major changes made to it. So I did a little homework, I did a little research, and I tried to find, a big list of just all the various events happening in this year's Olympics.
Were you
Really deep dive.
Were you avoiding summer training? Is that what was happening here for your job?
Nope, did this on the weekend on my own time,
okay,
baby.
okay.
Private citizen Savon and corporate Savon, two separate beings that don't overlap.
All right.
But
Top tuner.
He said wink.
But yeah, so today it's not going to be a top 5 in terms of one worst. This is just
Also, is that a giraffe on your shirt?
Damn right.
Can we just
Wait,
clear
is
that
it?
up?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, it's
What?
a huge giraffe.
Yeah, it's tatted up.
It's
It's-
a tatted giraffe?
Its
Oh, you
neck
see,
is
look
so
at this.
long.
Yeah, it's a giraffe.
That's the hallmark of a giraffe, Brian.
No,
That's
but
like a
I
defining trait.
just like on the shirt.
On the shirt,
because
I know,
you're
it's a
wearing like a
big-ass neck.
double XL.
No, this is just a medium. This is
You're
an
wearing a
old-
medium?
This is an old
Dude,
shirt.
you're over 6 feet tall. You can't.
That's
do
the
that.
size I wear. I wear a medium.
I don't fit this shirt anymore. So I have this is a side story that's not relevant. I'm
Okay.
hating on Olympic sports right now.
Do it.
And I'm about to talk about all the sports that, in no particular order, I'm like either change it or just get rid of it. For the record, I'm not an expert. If you have some deep, nuanced opinion about why this sport is valid, don't
Keep it to yourself.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. So you can message me. Won't promise that I'll read it. But if you want to, go on your little soapbox, go for it. But if you want to disagree,
Start your own
pod.
podcast.
Yeah, boy. Anyways, we're gonna open it up with anything involving horses.
Oh, cosine.
Anything. I don't give a
The
damn.
immediate cosine.
Cosine.
Immediate. Now the
The
closest
horse is
thing,
the athlete.
the horse doing the heavy lifting. And I don't even think is horse racing an Olympic sport?
I
Like
don't know.
the
I don't
one
think so.
part,
No,
the one,
not
You do the
horse
the
jumping.
one activity,
Horse
that could-
jumping.
the one that I might have more respect for in terms of a competition is the one they don't have. So you have horses.
Wait, you would
trotting and
respect the
crip
horse
walking
racing
and-
more?
I mean,
They're still not
it's
doing
rel-
anything.
The bar is still in hell. But like, I'll respect somebody who races a horse fast better than someone who can make a horse crip walk backwards. What kind of rich? What kind of
Yo, if
They're
Dr.
cheating on
Dre,
that, though.
if Snoop had a
Yeah.
horse,
yeah? What kind of rich people? And it's like, okay, so how do you train? What's the barrier of entry? certain countries probably just got nicer horses. This just feels like a rich people money laundering scheme.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Like
this is somebody like paying the
Joe
Olympic
Schmo-
Committee to get it in.
Yeah, Joe Schmo does not effing become the horse people. I'm not about to try and say equestrian, even though the horse
Let's
people.
not glorify it.
Yeah, it's just like it upsets me. We're not going to try and use the scientific term to make it seem deeper than it is. It's people playing horse games. The same way me playing fetch with my dog shouldn't be a damn Olympic sport. So
I would way watch that over the horse jumping
same.
stuff.
But look,
No.
if the dog training
no.
and if the dog show things, which I think that might take more skill the way they train them dogs, because I done had a dog. Dogs be acting a fool. Now, granted, that shouldn't be an Olympic sport, but I'll take that over the horse stuff. But really, anything involving an animal, get it out of here. This is the Olympics, not whatever y'all think it is. Animals should not have any role in the Olympics.
Unless you're fighting the animal or something like that. Unless the race is against the animal.
I would get down
I like
with that.
All right.
But then at that point, it's just a modification of the track and field events where now you're just running to beat the best time. Who can compete?
That would be incredible.
Like, okay, you can't beat the cheetah, but who can get the closest time? But at that point, you're just doing the 100-meter dash.
Cheetah race.
But you're just
Well,
doing
you
the
just-
100-meter dash, but with higher thresholds of like a record to keep.
That's how you eliminate the competitors. You do like several heats, and the slowest person gets attacked by the chasing animal and
Ooh,
dies.
no.
That's
right?
how you get them to run.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
and
there
that's how
we
you
go.
Going
get
Coliseum
to,
style.
you get to the winner. Based on who
Last
survives the
person
longest.
standing. There
Exactly.
we go. Now we're getting interesting. But this horse shit, get it out of here. It's horse
Okay,
shit.
no horses.
Nah,
I
they're
agree.
gone.
Wait, the
Get 'em outta here.
next one better not be archery, bro. That's one of my favorites.
So no, I actually have a no. You're gonna no. Actually, you're gonna hate my
This
answer
guy
more.
throws axes though, so that might be in
you're
his
gonna,
wheelhouse.
Nah, you're gonna hate my answer more.
Okay.
I put
What's
on here
next?
on the list
Number 2.
all combat sports.
What?
And what I'm right? People are gonna say what? I know.
Like
Let me-
wrestling and
Let
boxing?
me explain.
Taekwondo.
That includes taekwondo, judo, wrestling, boxing. All of those need to be abolished, and we need to treat
Because
this
they're
as if,
barbaric?
no, we need to treat this as if this was like Street Fighter or Tekken, where you have all of the fighting disciplines from all over the world come into one place, and
Okay.
then you just do like a one-on-one. So why are the judo people fighting other judo people? I don't want to see that shit. I want to see a judo master go at it with a capoeira master or a
Okay.
boxing master. I want this
You
to
just
look
want
like
MMA. You want UFC right in the middle.
basically. I want it
Okay.
to be like watching Street Fighter. Oh, here's
MMA is
Ryu from
actually not
Japan.
that fun.
Who's doing this is Ryu from Japan doing his, more traditional karate.
Okay,
and
okay.
here's Balrock from America who's just like a cocky boxer. I want them to go at it round 1. Fight. But at the Olympics.
Yeah, I think I could jump on board with this. Like, I don't want to see the mixed martial arts. I want to see the top of the discipline face off. Like, I want to see Muhammad Ali versus Bruce Lee, actually.
Yeah.
Versus Kareem. Oh, wait, we saw that already.
Yeah, I just want it to be like Enter the Dragon or just literally every fighting game ever where it's just a world martial arts tournament where every discipline comes and may the best discipline win. If
Wait,
the best fighter is a sumo wrestler, then guess what? I want to see big sumo do hand slapping and body slamming and he get his Olympic medal over the taekwondo dude.
So what happens to fencing? Oh, does this become
funny enough,
Soul Calibur?
fencing is on my list. Actually, this is a great transition. Wait, is there anything
Okay.
I have to say about the combat sports thing?
I think it's fine. I think it's quite an athletic pursuit, and you got to best your competitors. Like that seems in the Olympic spirit,
I want the taekwondo dude to fight the boxing dude.
I think
Like-
all the Taekwondo dudes should fight each other first, and then the winner of that has to go on to the Champions League.
Look, I don't mind. I don't mind
the
if you represent.
Aikido guy.
So
and
it's like
then
an Olympics.
the-
It's an Olympics within the Olympics. Like
Yes.
you have to qualify for the Olympics, but then you also have to qualify within the Olympics within your fighting discipline to
Okay, wait.
represent.
Do you get a gold medal for your own discipline?
I don't know. We have to talk to the Olympic
I'm
committee to
not
work
sure.
out the,
Maybe
work out
like,
the nuances.
Maybe you get a gold coin that
Yeah.
you
But-
have to
Get
put
a
into the
pin.
machine to then
Yeah.
play the next game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
And then if you lose the next game, Cheetah eats you.
Yeah. But I think the first step is breaking down the walls and just having all the fighting disciplines go at it. We can work out the details later, but if Street Fighter and Tekken can do it, I'm convinced the Olympic Committee can do it.
That makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
They have
Yes.
way more resources.
Video games, the same as the Olympics. Got
Yeah.
it.
Give them a
Absolutely
room
All
to
right.
fight.
Why don't you do your next one then? Since we already brought out fencing and you said it's on the list. Why fencing? Because fencing is
Kind of-
kind of cool. It's like a really like and then you gotta like be
and
super quick.
Yeah,
like you gotta
let's
have
step
fast
that-
twitch muscles.
Let's
up the
step that
wazoo.
shit up. Let's
Okay.
step that shit up. Get rid of the pads. Get rid of all that extra stuff. It needs to be, Brian, you called it. Soul Calibur.
Oh my god.
So you want
Literally-
samurai games now?
Literally, not necessarily, because there's lots of sword weapons you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
use. I'm not limiting what you can use,
Right.
but I just want all the
Two-hand
world's
broadsword.
best. I want all the world's best swordsmen and women to come together for a world
Oh my
martial arts tournament.
What you're saying is that
Street Fighter and Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Olympics is coming like as a half measure. You're talking like it's too weak. They gotta like really step up and show the real deal.
Fencing is cool. I like fencing.
Yeah,
I just think
they
it can be
celebrate a
cool.
lot.
Yeah, guess what? It can be cooler. Straight up.
Well,
It's
like
nice
it
to go
feels
for
like
a-
fencing probably was a sport that came out of like real sword fighting, right? And training. And they were like, well, we can't always just kill each other and do combat, so let's do this fencing thing as like an analog. And now you're saying, let's just strip it down, go back to the roots, and make it brutal combat.
Well, I mean, back in the,
Yeah, I like
50s,
that.
well, I forgot where I read this, but I think back in like the 40s, I think certain like German officers who learned fencing growing up, there was certain times where they would fence without the face. It was like a high stakes version of fencing where you could absolutely get scarred on the face because
Really?
they were.
But the blades
they're
now aren't sharp, I don't think.
Yeah, it's like a point. But point is, I mean, regardless, you could still hurt somebody with
poke
it.
an
like-
eye out.
Yeah, you can still, and either way, you stabbing. You don't need a sharp blade to break skin and get somebody bleeding. Point is, fencing is already cool. Let's step it up a notch. Let's really make the stakes higher.
But
It's
I like
easy
it.
to
You
go
have to
for
fight
something.
on this little tiny plank. It's
That's
not
fine.
bigger than, you know.
I was gonna say, can we at least add a staircase? Can we add a chandelier
We
somewhere?
can treat. Look, let's go. Let's treat it like Smash Brothers. There's different stages, and
Ooh,
they
I like
have
that.
to either pick the stage, the two people, or they counter pick and say, "I ban this one. I ban this until you land on one." There's a lot of formats you can use to have some environmental stuff. I'm with it, but I think
Yeah,
the
they
basic
should
starting
fight at
point.
the skate park.
Yeah, I want to see somebody fighting up the stairs, down the stairs. I want something like Obi-Wan. I have the high ground. Uh-oh, is Jones gonna go for it? He goes. He's down. Obi-Wan wins the gold. Except instead of just you on the ground embarrassed, it's like, nah, but you took a wound. Nah, you hurt.
I
When you
think
come back. You
I
got
think
4
my
years to heal
change-
up. You got 4 years to heal up and get ready for the next Olympics.
I really like fencing, not to watch it, but I've seen like clips and I'm like, that's a cool
You
sport.
like fencing, not
Yeah.
to watch it.
No, but like
I like to
can't-
stab a little.
I don't want to pretend that I'm a fan or that I know anything about fencing. I just like the way it looks. It looks cool. I feel like if you wanted to up the like watchability of it, you'd narrow their path that they're on, right? Because they have a platform that they can be on, but like narrow that a bit, right? Like to like a foot or two. So they really are just head to head. And then you make the out of bounds area more dangerous, like filled with a lake filled with alligators or lava or something, and really like make it, that you got to like go
Look,
at it.
we can-
Because
we
I
can
still
cross
want to
that.
see the quickness in those.
We can cross that bridge. You can still do that though. My changes don't get rid of that. All my changes is just saying let's just up the stakes. Hey, get rid of all these pads and shit. If you're going for the hit, you need to like really go for it.
Okay.
Like I
Our
want people
lightsaber
to.
allowed.
Yeah, I want people to have higher stakes. It's easy to go for a bold move knowing, oh, I'm not gonna really get hurt. Hey, you gonna go for it knowing you could really get hurt? All right, yeah, that really raises the stakes. Now you're gonna really see who the big.
But then no
dog
one would do
is.
it.
Shit, I
Well,
guess
what about this?
the
Like,
cream will rise to the top, in the words of Macho Man Randy Savage.
what's
Maybe
Well,
those
we
who need the
already
pads were never
know-
meant for this.
what we already know that's better than fencing.
That's why Joe Biden is the nominee.
is American Gladiators, right? Like, do you remember when they had like the big sticks and they would
Yes,
just try
the
to knock
Q-tips.
each other off the,
Yeah, the
the totem
Q-tips.
pole?
Yeah, that was great.
Yo, that was so good and entertaining. That's already better than fencing.
Big facts. So just take away the pads, maybe some blade variety. You can add in environmental hazards, have it like a Princess Bride fight or a Star Wars fight. I'm with whatever, but fencing has a lot of untapped potential that I
Costumes
think
required.
could really. I'm with it. You want people cosplay? You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
dress like your Elden Ring character. I don't give
Yes.
a damn.
All right.
All
Fair
right.
enough. Okay, so that's 3. So we have anything with horses, dressage, equestrian, whatever. No more combat sports, just one combat sport.
We're breaking down the walls, baby.
You're
So there's
deconstructing
Street
it.
Fighter and their Soul Calibur. Okay,
And
Big
wait,
got it covered.
wait. So those are unarmed combat, right? So you have fencing, which is armed. So you're saying that's a separate category, though. Like the fencers are not battling with the judos.
No, that's not fair.
Okay.
Wait, but shouldn't the archers and the shooters also be rolled into this as well?
I
What do you
thought
think,
about
Sav?
it, but then the judging for their events is more about accuracy. They're not really combat sports; they're precision sports. That's kind of how I perceive
Okay.
it.
Marksman.
Because you're not fighting anybody.
Okay.
There's a very
Fair,
clear
fair.
objective. If you hit more targets than
He's
this
a
person,
smart man.
you're
Yeah.
better.
He's
I
really
thought
thought
about
about
it.
this, guys.
I really was thinking about it. I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, do I put archery in here? Like, nah, they're kind of chilling.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe you could make archery though. You got to hit, somebody. You got to hit your opponent.
now,
Can we have
now,
paintball?
hold on. Now we got an idea, like dodgeball, where you can't cross like a certain line.
You got my
But
brain
then the
turning on
rest-
this one,
But look,
Savage.
yeah, dodgeball, right? You can't cross a line, but
Yeah.
then outside of that, you got your quiver.
Steal
and it's
the
just like,
bacon.
hey, man,
Yeah.
last one
that'd be
standing
amazing.
win. Just gotta go for it. So they shooting arrows, ducking, dodging. I'd watch that. But
Let's go,
that's
J-Law.
for-
Fund that.
We'll do that in 4 years on the next Olympic.
He said
Confidently
J-Law.
wrong.
Katniss Everdeen.
Next on here, this is pretty simple. Diving.
What's wrong
You
with
don't
diving?
like diving?
I am not impressed by someone succumbing to gravity. I can
What do you
succumb to
mean?
gravity. I could fall. Anybody can fall. Your children can fall.
Can you
I could
fall with style, though?
Someone's grandparent. Anybody can effing fall. Like, I'm just not impressed. Yeah, in the words of Woody from Toy Story, that's just falling with style, and that's nice. But like, I'm just not about to hype people up for succumbing to a basic force of our world. That's just not impressive to me. Like, here's me, gravity. Oh man, somebody give me a gold. Like, I recognize the
It's
skill.
like gymnastics, though.
And
They're,
then
they're doing
also-
flips and stuff.
So here's the other problem I have with diving outside of the gravity thing. Never in my life have I seen anything about jumping into a pool from a high distance and the goal is to not make a big splash. That's the most counterintuitive shit I ever heard in my life. I've never jumped into any body
What
of
is
water.
that country club shit?
I've never jumped into any body of water and thought, man, I hope I don't make a splash.
Well, it's
What?
extremes, right? You jump in and you want to make the biggest fucking splash possible, or you jump in and you try to make the littlest splash possible. I think
the
that's
little
fine.
splash is whack. Let's make it interesting. Let's go for biggest splash. I want MFs doing people's elbows, swanton bombs.
They have
flips,
this competition. It's
cannonballs.
just not in the Olympics.
Yeah, maybe that needs to be in the Olympics. I'd be more impressed. I don't give a damn about who can not make a splash. A effing pebble or a small child could not make a splash. I want some big Mark Henry looking dude jumping however many feet the high dive is and causing a tsunami. I want people for that event to get the close rope seats playing big money because they hope they get splashed by a 10 out of 10 dive. Like,
They
rather
all
than
should
just
be wearing ponchos.
Oh yeah, I'm saying it needs to be like water. You need to be doing some SeaWorld shit. You hear me? Like, you need to be in there with your poncho. Like, he's driving. People, oh no. Yeah, like, yo, that'd be fine. Not this just, no splash.
Is there skill in that, though? To just see like a big dude cause a big splash?
Is there skill in people riding horses?
Yes.
I mean, yes, there is. But is it skill that I care about for an Olympic medal? Not for me.
I'll say this: the divers are always yoked. Like, they're just like buff. They look like gymnasts. They're all
they gotta
like
perform naked.
Yeah, but I don't think that's
You
if
would
I
why.
say
had
for
to be,
that
if I had
too.
to be
I
bucket
mean-
naked too, I'd make sure I look good. Especially
I don't
at the
think
Olympics.
that's why they look good. I think they look good because it's a physically demanding, activity.
You're swimming.
Yeah.
You don't even gotta know how to swim to be a high diver.
Well, I mean, you would drown. But at the
Get
bottom,
some floating. You can just crawl to the wall. You don't even need to be a good swimmer. You could be a mediocre swimmer and be a gold
Hey,
Olympic diver. And
I'm
that'll
not
sit right
arguing
with
that
you.
I
paddle.
need to watch diving. If diving disappeared, I would not cry a single tear. But it does feel like a sport to me.
It's a sport. I know
Yeah,
it's not a sport. It's a
feels like
sport.
an
It just
Olympic
shouldn't be at
sport.
the Olympics.
All right.
It's like it involves a pool and it takes away all the coolest shit that you do in a pool, which includes swimming and making a big splash when you jump in. Diving does like none of those things. You're not here to swim. You're not here to make a splash.
Are you good with
FOE.
water polo?
Yeah, water polo is one of the hardest things I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
I watched one water polo game several years ago and said, "This is the toughest shit I've ever seen."
Yeah,
Those
these
people
guys
are
are about to
monsters.
die.
They're fucking
Swimming,
monsters.
because if you
Yeah.
F up, you don't get to catch your breath. You just drown.
All right. Synchronized swimming?
I was really back and forth about putting this on here.
Okay.
And it was very close until you see what I put on the last spot on this list.
See, like for me, like synchronized swimming and rhythmic gymnastics, I don't need to see those at the Olympics. I don't think they should be there. But
I was
don't know.
very close to putting them on there. And
Okay.
I asked straight up, Wes, I actually started doing research into how they score it because that is actually important to me. The subjectivity of it still is something that I'm like not the biggest fan of because there's like any sport where it's like it's subjective. It's kind of always a little
Right, like ice
Eh.
skating. Figure
Yeah,
skating.
it's always a little bit,
Get outta here.
but there's enough athleticism and raw skill involved to where I just am like, it's all good. Is it a little
right.
subjective? Yeah, but like the athleticism is there in a way that you could not deny in any
I
capacity.
mean, that's true for like cheerleading and dancing, but those aren't Olympic sports. But all right,
But they
keep
could
going.
be.
They
They
could
could
be.
be.
And
They could be.
breakdancing
Well,
is one. I
breakdancing
feel like
is
how
now,
they judge breakdancing is going
as
to be.
Brian knows.
I almost put breakdancing on here, Brian, but I was like, I need to see how they judge this event first. Because my issue is that
That's what you need to see.
Are you gonna overvalue someone?
Watch my documentary.
Look,
Yeah.
all I'm saying, Brian, is that it's right now. I mean, Brian, you're the dancer, so tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a difference between someone who can do a technically proficient move versus some shit that just is smooth.
Oh yeah,
Or got
exactly.
character.
The swag is
yeah.
such a big part of it.
Yeah, like the breakdancing part to me, Wes, is almost like, or really just a subjective event. It gives me the energy of people who say that Eminem is a good rapper because he can rap really well, even though that is separate from his ability to make good music. And people who can make good music who aren't necessarily the best rappers. Like, I think
Kanye.
the best dancers aren't the people who can do the
Kanye.
hardest moves. Like, that's the best way to put it. So, I don't know. I went back and forth on those events a
All right.
lot, but the one that was there was no ambiguity to was the walk running event. I'm like, oh, so
wait,
they
is that an
actually-
Olympic sport? Walk running?
Yes, it's like
Is that
running.
speed walking?
Yes,
I think I have seen it before.
it's real. It's real. I was like, is this real? And I, did a little
Yeah.
did my homework.
All right.
Like, oh, this shit is real.
Baseball's not an Olympic sport.
Takes
but
up-
walk running.
Well,
is.
how fast are these walk runners?
I don't know. I was like, I'm not about to learn how they differentiate between what running and walking is on an Olympic rules level, because I'm sure otherwise people would just run. I'm like,
the rule is easy. It's you have to have one foot touching the ground at all times.
Nah, I'm not about to do that shit.
That's
Like,
easy.
That's silly.
It's just like a group of people who all look like they need to seriously use the bathroom.
I've done that
But
walk
it's
before.
very
So-
far away.
So
Yes.
here's my problem with the walk runners.
Okay.
It takes skill, it takes endurance, it takes all those physical traits.
Yeah.
I won't pretend. But why is it this
Yeah.
instead of just running? This feels like for the
please
people who,
just run.
like,
Yeah.
and running already covers our going from A to B style events. And we've done different versions of them. Do you want to do a short-term sprint? We got that. You want to do a team race sprint? We got that. You want to do a long-term cross-country thing? We got that. So we already have all of our human forms of locomotion covered in terms of competitive racing. Why the F are we doing something that's slower than the primary one we already do? No one asked for this. Are we going to have Olympic crawling next?
To Wes's
Olympic
earlier
crawl.
point, right, about like, well, there's extremes. Like you can go for the biggest splash or the smallest splash. Why not just change it to the slowest run? Like, let's see who could do
How
it the
slowly could you go?
absolute slowest, and so on the other end we have the absolute fastest. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be more interesting?
I take
good
that
at
over
that.
speed walking, which is just like, this is just a middle ground that nobody asked for.
Bowling.
Who in their mind was
Bowling could
like,
be an
man,
Olympic
them dudes
sport.
are running too fast. Can we have a race, but like they're just not running they're not going as fast?
Bowling should be a sport. You know what I think
Yes.
is hard is there's competitions where the Olympics is not the highest like coveted championship in that
Of
sport.
their sport,
Yeah, so like
basketball.
World Cup. Well, no, basketball might qualify because like there isn't an international competition besides the World Cup, but
Okay,
I think
but
the same
yeah,
teams that
soccer.
want to win the World Cup still want to win the Olympics. That seems on par, and I think people put a lot of emphasis on the Olympics. But like
Tennis.
soccer's World Cup is, I think, a good example for the men for sure, but even maybe for the women, that like winning an Olympics is great, and I'm sure they love it. But if they win a World Cup, they're like emboldened forever in terms of fan. What is that called? Like what pedestal you put it on or value. The World Cup is definitely bigger than winning the Olympics. And the Olympics for cycling is also probably not as coveted as
As
winning
Tour de
like, the
France.
Tour de France, right?
Mhm.
But they're different. It's a one-day race in the Olympics, and so it's like winning a world championship or something like that, except you get to hold the title for 4 years. So it is a big deal, but it's a very different thing than like winning the Tour de France. So yeah, sports like that where I'm just like, you already have like a really big competition. The Olympics is not the height of it. Like maybe you just don't need to be here. Like let somebody else shine who like the Olympics would be like the biggest thing.
Yeah, like the walk runners.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Let
need
them-
medals too.
Let them have their minute.
Like,
I don't know.
doesn't it sort of feel like the
Soccer might be the
like
only good
everybody
example of
gets an
this.
award sort of situation? Like, oh, you did your thing, little kid. Let's pat you on the head. Like, Everybody's great. Everybody has a talent.
Not for all these sports, but for some of the sports. Some of the sports I name, I don't even think it's like that. It's just they could just be improved entertainment value wise. But I agree, Brian. That, I don't think that's a big scale thing, but there is some fat to be trimmed. But put it like
I know
this.
you're covering mostly. These are all summer Olympic sports.
I thought about winter.
Do you agree
I really
about
thought
curling?
about...
What about curling?
Nah, man, curling is one of the dopest sports I've ever effing seen. I was at a friend's house. I swear to God. One time I was at a friend's house and he had a homie who was like who joined a curling club for fun on the side, and he was talking about it. And then we ended up just watching like a YouTube video of 15 minutes of just some of the best curling shots of all time. Bruh.
It's stressful.
That shit is like, I was watching, I was like, nah. They get my respect. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's teamwork. That's precision. It's not the traditional sport, but I see the skill expression. It's not subjective in its scoring. It's very much a clear, you do this, you get points, you win.
Yep.
Like the fact
shuffleboard is next.
The fact that there's a concrete scoring system, and I've seen personally the skill and whatnot it takes. I'm like, and it's a team sport. I'm like, nah, I can. Will I play curling? No. But will I watch it and appreciate it? Yeah. But I don't just roll my eyes at curling once I learn about it compared to some other sports where the more I learn, the more I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like curling, I liked it the more I learned. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Other sports, I'm like, that's what they're doing? Ugh.
Yeah, speed walking definitely lacking in the skill category.
The more I learned about it, the less. Like, you have to find some balance between reasonable to score, skill expression, so you being able to show how good you are at it, and like athletic ability. I think you got to find some kind of balance between those for me to take it seriously. But some are lacking in like all of those. And I'm like, oof, or they only are good in one. I'm like, oof, that's rough. Like spitting with precision could be something that takes skill, but like, but does it shot
glass at the end of the bar?
But does it check the other boxes to be like, okay, sure, it's a skill, but is this like Olympic? This one to Olympic on this shit? You know?
Yeah.
I just think a few sports made the cut that shouldn't have. But I think breakdancing, skateboarding, and rock climbing those are 3 new ones they added this year. I actually think those are great additions. Like, I actually think those are really good in terms of showing skill, different sports, modern, not just more people rock climb and breakdance and skateboard than people ride effing horses. That is just a vestige of a time past. So I'm cool with them modernizing with newer activities than just having shit rich folks did 150 years ago.
Now, if they could teach the horses to break, maybe I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, make it interesting.
I'm not sold on breakdancing as Olympic sport, but I'm waiting to hear or see Brian's film once it's put together. And then maybe I'll be sold on it as an Olympic sport.
You'll be waiting for a while.
Your logic about the Olympic sport, Wes, I don't agree, but it is consistent with your point about the other ones you don't think should be sports, which is the ones that are like subjective.
It's like too subjective,
subjective artistic dance stuff. I completely agree, because how do you do style points? I'm like, we're just judging the person who can do the most spins. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, battles have been part of hip hop since the very beginning, and those are judged somehow, right?
Yeah,
like some winners are anointed, and oftentimes very evident. So
but for those,
sometimes it's about like how big your crowd reaction is, right? And at the Olympics, you're gonna have
like
a hard time recreating.
Could be.
Yeah,
I think, but that's a part that I like.
That.
Like, for that, that's one of those.
The best stuff.
Give the keys to the people. Let the people decide.
But like
at
the Olympics, you don't have that, right? You don't have a bunch of like spectators who are knowledgeable in the circle.
It's a conundrum.
Yeah,
and it's complicated and maybe ripe for a documentary.
maybe we need like some neutral cheers for each section for the subjective events. Then it's just like judge it off crowd reaction and decibels, and they use that.
No way. I want home. You go hard for your country. That would be awesome too.
Yeah, but you have to cheer, but not for your country. So each country over there, they get the little section. There's a way we could figure this out. Right now, just having like 5 dudes with signs, and then there's one guy who's like the D Wade, always give you a 9.
Brian's getting all the interviews and all the footage on like the different people and their skepticism around it. So we'll get to see it when he puts his film together. And if anybody's looking to fund a film, Brian is still looking for producers. Yeah. I
don't want more producers. I just want your money. Come on.
Okay. So then they get an EVP credit, or an EP credit. Give it to them.
I'll get a thank you.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, they'll be part of the block list.
All right.
The credits.
Okay. Wow.
Hit me up.
No wonder he's got no funding. Not giving away EP credits. 6-figure funders.
You don't have a voice in this. Just give me the cash.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll throw a 5 your way as long as you just put me in the credits somewhere.
Yeah. All right. A 5.
I'll throw a 5 for doing what I can.
That doesn't even buy him lunch on one day of shooting.
I said
The
doing what I
amount
can.
of money corresponds to the size of font used for your name in the
I
credits.
put my shit in 5 font.
It's like 0.5.
0.5, yeah. That
There it
shit's
is,
the
there it
width,
is, there it
the
is.
width of a mechanical pencil lead. That's
Boy,
what you
gotta
got.
get a microscope. Oh, there's Savon.
Pause it.
All
Let's
right.
see my
That's
name.
great.
Let's do one quick question and then we're out of here. What's your sport you're most looking forward to this summer? Either you know about it or you're just like, I like watching that sport. I think I'm actually most excited for basketball this summer.
Yeah,
But
you excited for basketball, Wes? The basketball fan on the pod where we talk often about many things, including basketball. The Lakers fan, you going?
hey, want to see LeBron get another gold? Maybe
I mean, the Lakers
I wanna see
really
it as a
showed up
basketball
yesterday
fan, not a Lakers
for Team USA.
they
I
did.
know,
Yo,
it's
AD's been
disgusting.
wrecking it in all these exhibitions. We'll see if he can maintain that. And Joel seems like he's finally hitting a little bit of a stride because he looked really
Man,
awful
you was
for
hating
like
on my
3
boy
games.
Joel.
Woo! He was not looking good, but he looked better yesterday. So hopefully he's kind of rounding into shape here in some form. But yeah, I think that's the one I'm most excited for. But I don't really love the like swimming and track and those kind of bigger sports. I kind of like the smaller sports. Like I like watching ping pong and archery, kind of smaller, like just fun sports, just to see like what they're up to. So that's where I'm at. Sav, what's your sport you're looking forward to in the Olympics?
Oh, basketball.
All right, nice.
I just
Do you think USA is gonna win it? I know they're the favorites, but I wouldn't be surprised if another team won.
I mean, I said it before when we were talking, right? Like, I think that Team USA, and for folks who don't watch a lot of basketball, right? Like, we have the most talent by far.
Yeah, but like the least
the least
cohesiveness, right?
But the least chemistry,
Yeah.
and our biggest names are old, and a lot of our younger players are just not proven in the Olympic game. And as Brian also said, NBA players on the Olympic team are used to being that dude, the big dog on their team. Being on the Olympic squad was suddenly
They're all 1As.
suddenly gone from being the star and the son of your team to like, hey, bro, we need you to come off the bench and just kind of sit in the corner and just play your role. Like, that's hard for them dudes to do.
Yeah.
Also, the international basketball is just so effing good these days. Like, the teams internationally are so stacked, plus their chemistry, that I'm just frankly, like, I'm here to watch Team USA, but I'm really here to just watch a lot of these good international teams because I love the state of international hoops right now. We're the best USA, but we got to work for it, and I really like that dynamic of the game.
I mean, they just played a close game against South Sudan, which was really fun to watch. So you're right, for sure.
Shout out to Lou Aldang because he's been putting in work into developing a lot of like just basketball in Africa
Infrastructure,
and infrastructure. Like, man, it takes work. This is the result of years of work, and who knows what we'll be in another 10, 15 years. You know.
I think Masai Ujiri also does a lot, and not with South Sudan, but with African basketball. Anyways, Brian, sport you're looking forward to?
I mean, of course, I'm looking forward to breaking. I'm like on pins and needles for what's going to happen with that.
Give us a name,
because it has ramifications for the movie that I'm making.
Wait. But give us a name. I have
heard from many people like, "Oh, this is a great story, but let's see if she wins gold."
Okay, so who's the person you've been following?
So I've been following the U.S. women. There are 2 U.S. women who qualified. I'm following the one who qualified first, Sunny Choi.
Sung Choi, okay.
So she's on the B-girl side. She lives in Queens, New York.
Nice.
She's repping the birthplace of hip hop.
Nice.
So quite a bit of pressure on her.
All right, who are the big names? They just
released the brackets.
Yeah.
For B girls, and I'm like, oh man, she's got a tough bracket, so she better bring it.
Who's like her one of her biggest rivals we should look out for? Like, oh, that person has a good shot too.
Like everybody in her bracket.
Okay.
Actually,
give us a name.
Maybe not everybody, but there's a B girl from China called 671. Okay. And there's another B girl from the Netherlands called India, and they're both really, really very good.
From India.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how she got dubbed that name. Like people give you a name, and you just roll with it. So.
So those who we got to watch out for when we watch.
So on the B girl side for sure, and then on the B boy side, the Victor, who is like the top U.S. man, top U.S. B boy, he's incredible, and I've seen him quite a bit. And then also the dude from Canada is also incredible.
Really,
this dude named Phil Wizard. I think both of them have like very, very, very good shots of winning gold. But then, you know, like their whole top to bottom, all the B-boys are just ridiculous. You're about to see some superhuman
Really?
shit
Oh,
like
good.
go off with the
Yeah.
B-boys.
Okay.
I am telling you, you'll be like, oh, I get why it's an Olympic sport. Like it's absolutely subjective, but however, this shit is incredible.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But you know, the things that I am normally hyped for at the Olympics, of course, is basketball, of course.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy the swimming,
Do you?
and I do enjoy the 100-meter dash, and you know, and see people kill it, just be like the world's fastest man. And I'm also into the decathlon as well.
Oh, you follow decathlon a little bit.
That's like
Okay.
the world's greatest athlete.
Yeah.
And
all
I
of the
just
different track and fields at
those
once.
monikers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. For breaking, are they going to do multiple gold medals or like different competitions, or is it all one category?
It's just one day for the B girls, one day for the B boys. It's a knockout style tournament, like
Okay.
NCAA
But it's like
style.
mixed genre. Like you could do popping, you could do breaking, you could do whatever you want.
It's just purely breaking.
It's
so
all
there's
breaking.
no popping, there's no locking, there's
That's what
none
I
of
was
that.
asking. Okay.
No pop, lock, and dropping?
There's no there's none of that. So it's pure
It's all
breaking.
acrobatics breaking.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
Wait,
that's your
quick thing,
Olympics
Wes,
preview.
I forgot. They added rock climbing to the Olympics, like the wall climbing, bouldering. I'm gonna watch that. That's
yeah,
gonna
you were
be
saying
sick.
that.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be the highest
Nickelodeon
one.
gut style.
Yeah,
It's
nothing.
like,
Nothing
the
quite
top.
like
Hit the
nothing quite
button.
like an activity. Yeah, except it's it's bouldering, so there's no ropes or nothing like that either. You just going for it.
Yeah.
So
Well, they had speed climbing, I think, last time, which is where, like what Brian's saying, you got to just like crawl a vertical wall straight to the top and hit the button
It's
as
a
fast as
race.
you can. Yeah. And then you said was bouldering not in the last Olympics?
I don't know if they added it recently. I gotta check again. But like,
anyways, but you're looking forward
rock
to that.
climbing bouldering is in it, and it's gonna be sick.
Yeah, it's
That's
super
one
cool.
of those. That's one of those sports that you don't have to really understand to know like this shit is hard and that.
Yeah.
That's really
you
impressive.
get it.
Appreciate it immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the best Olympic sports. I can put it
This
on.
ain't
But,
no
that looks
dressage.
really hard.
Yeah, not horse dancing. All right, friends.
Though, if a horse could climb a rock or a wall,
You'd
I'd
watch
that.
Let's do the animal Olympics.
Yeah, goats could do it. Goats are fucking incredible.
Goats are the goats of that.
Yeah, like they just walk
Well
sideways
done.
up a face.
He's out. Savon out.
We're gonna bleep that out. That was horrible. All right, friends, we're out of here. Take it easy. Next show, I think we're gonna talk about Wolverine and Deadpool, or Deadpool and Wolverine. So make sure that you go get your tickets. There are still definitely some tickets available. I know they sent pre-sale on a long time ago, but it's hard to get tickets for IMAX and that kind of like big screen setup. But if you're just looking for regular screens, tickets are still available for most areas, I'm sure. At least in Austin, that is true. So enjoy it. Go watch it. We'll talk about it next time.
Are we sponsored by MoviePhone.com or something?
Does that still exist?
I don't know.
I went on my
tickets
Fandango.
Are still available.
Yeah, I went on Fandango. So if you need a
Good
shout
God.
out, Fandango.
Fandango, give us money.
Yeah. I refused to buy my tickets to Inside Out on Fandango though, because they were charging me like $3 or $4 like convenience fees. So I just went to the theater and got it. All right, friends, we're out of here. Take it easy. Bye.